Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're watching this video, it's more than likely because you bought our clutch kit, which thank you, we appreciate that. And you are just going to love all the goodness that all this stuff unlocks in your RZR. So this particular one is for the 21 Turbo, 21 Turbo S, Pro XP up to current. And that's what we're doing the thing on. And we're gonna just start out. We're gonna load our flyweights up. About the flyweights, if you guys don't know this already and you're surprised when you got the box, so you've got, this is actually a mistake box that we got because you should have some thin washers in that hole, but it'll come with instructions. It'll tell you what the washers weigh, RPMs, where you want to be at. Our suggested setup with is what we're going to start with right here. So you get the kit. It's a secondary spring, a Helix, custom made with the Crash City on it, and then these weights. We reuse your primary spring, so if you don't have that, let us know, and we can get one of those coming to you too. So our weights, they're the bolts and the washers. This is old reliable setup right here. I've ran it in my 1000s when we were racing and stuff. Reason why we don't do the magnets is just they break and stuff, and they're not good. And so the flyweights have bushings. If you ever get a sticky flyweight, we can get you the bushings to replace that. So the recommended setup for the Pro XP 21 Turbo Turbo S is 3 red bolts per hole, or per arm, so 1 in each hole. You can use the washers to fine tune. If you've got a tune, you can start with our setup if it's revs a little too high, or you just want more low end performance. Maybe start with a thick washer on the first hole and maybe a thin one on the second hole. But we're just doing this. The machine we're putting it on has no tune. It's got the 53% reduction in it that we did. So kit comes with some blue Pucky, otherwise known as Loctite. So just put a little on the threads there because you don't want these coming out. This first one's kind of a booger if you got big fingers. And then it's an 11. And just as tight as you can get it.
Make sure you put the bolts in the right side. See where that lip is?
Yep. Yeah, because that's got to be pretty flush back there. So you just keep doing this. I said it was harder on there we go.
And we do like this style a lot more than the weights too, because it's so much more adjustable.
I was getting ready to say that.
Were you?
Yeah, like with the magnets and even the kits that have the screw-in tungsten. I mean, you're there. It's a lot of adjustment all at once. So, so the magnets, each magnet weighs 1.3 grams, I believe, top of my head. So if you remove one or add one, you have to put, or even with the washers on this, you have to make that change in every weight in the same location. So roughly every 1 gram that you change is roughly 100 RPM-ish. It's not exact. So, you know, with the thin washers that this kit doesn't have, like I said, but we don't need them. The thin washers, if you really want to dial in your clutching, then you can use the thin washers to make very slight adjustments and improvements to really get your RPM where you want it. I know with the magnet kits we've done before is you're adjusting 3.9 grams every time, so you know you're roughly seeing the 300 RPM, and there's people that really want to be able to control that. So this is way more adjustable than any of the other weights out there, made in the USA. So we're gonna load these two up real quick, and then we'll get over to the machine. Got the weights loaded up and them ready to go right there. You could use the belt tool to take the belt off, but that's a two-piece secondary, so we just take the bolt out. And then we'll just pull apart all that.
Ooh, it's still warm.
Yeah, we got some heat in there, you know, on the stock clutching. So bad thing about this Helix, the stock Helix 2, is it gets steeper as you go, and you know, that's not ideal, especially if you ride with the gear reduction and rocks and how we ride and all that. So we're just gonna take that off, set it aside for now. Belt out of the way. So if you read the instructions, you know, because on the paperworks, we got to be legal, legit, legal beagle. If you want to pull this off, you can. Great. You would have to remove your primary bolt and all that, but this is how you can do it on the machine. And nothing wrong with it. Just you don't have to pull it. That way you're not messing with your alignment. Nothing. So she's gonna take 3 of the bolts completely out.
Clutch dust.
Now the next 3, she's gonna break them loose and then just loosen them up as we go around. It's under a little bit of pressure, but not a lot. But once she gets to that point, I'll throw my hand in there and kind of press in on the plate.
There she blows.
So take that off. There is. You will be reusing your primary spring, we said. When you put it back together, you want to make sure your X's line up with the X's over on that one. Alright, so you got that apart, or we can open that up. So you just, next you're gonna remove your pivot bolts. And what are those? It's a 11 or a 10.
I think it's a 10 and
1/8.
1/8.
So you want a real thin wall 10 to get there. 1/8 Allen over on that side. All right, so 1/8 Allen, a really thin wall 10 millimeter. So you remove the pivot bolt. Don't lose the nut.
The stress. Here it comes. Oh.
Alright, so then, since everything's out of it, let's push that forward. That way you can get a finger in there on the weight. Olden, new one. So then you get your weight back inside there. And then just when you put your pivot bolt in, just be sure, you know, it's going in good and you don't damage that bushing when you're putting it in there.
Ta-da!
And then I just showed you that bolt has got a shoulder on it, and those are lock nuts, so you don't have to really super torque those. Just whenever it stops, it's there.
And did we talk? No, I guess we don't have to.
Yep, and then just once it's in there, just make sure everything's moving freely. If you're an older unit, you got some miles on it, there's rollers up in here. Just want to make sure that they roll smooth. There's no flat spots on each one that you do.
I need a different ratchet. This one ain't happy.
It's one I've been using.
I'm just telling you, it's starting to see better days.
Oh no. I'll go get you the other ratchet. So then just tighten it up. When it gets snug, when it's there, it's done. And then just, you know, make sure that wiggles. Okay, so you're all done with one. Turn the crank, but when you turn it counterclockwise. If you go this way, you run the risk of slacking the timing chain and all that. So you can just rotate that by hand. And there went the compression. So yeah, you can get to that. So wash, rinse, dry, repeat. Same thing we did for that one. For this one, we'll get it out, in, and then counterclockwise to the next one, out and in, and we'll be back after we do all that.
Yo. They're in, they're in.
They're in, they all move freely, that slides freely. You know, good time to check out your primary while you're at it. If this doesn't slide super easy, there's probably gunk down in on the shaft. You'd want to, you know, get in there and clean, wipe off. Bonus info, if you were, you know, these are 2-piece clutches, and if you were taking this clutch apart for whatever reason, pretend we had the primary bolt removed, all you can do is loosen that up, pop that out. It's just held in by an O-ring. And since, actually you don't even have to do that. If you wanted to take it off, you know, use that, go here, bam. And you can use that to knock it off the shaft spline. that's a very tight fit. You know, the Kool-Aid clutch kit company just says to do that with the spring to knock it off there, and you know, it sucks to do it that way. This is the easy way, and you're not rocking the machine back and forth, whatever, but you don't have to do that for this. So back to just clutching. All right, so we're ready to put the spring and the cover plate back on. So there's a spring. Doesn't matter which way it goes, it just sits in there. You see clutch kits sometimes have washers and stuff. You don't want that clutch kit because it's a speed limiter, limits the travel. They got to put that in their kit.
Did you check the X?
I did not check the X because that's your job.
That's right there.
So, you know, they do that to compensate for poor clutching. We got the good clutching going on here.
Do you want me to push, or you push and I put the bolts in?
Well, I can put the bolts in if you push. Push
Here's
it on
some
there.
bolts.
So yeah, you line up your X's. You gotta push it more than that.
I gotta
You
get
wanna
off my
switch me?
stool then. Grr! Probably. I ain't got the weight.
Show comparison of the hands, not that anybody cares. Here you go. Get somebody to help you push that in when you're putting it back together. Just get the 3 of the bolts threaded in there good to get started. Once you get 2 of them in there, you can relax. Go ahead and get all of them started. You don't have to blue Loctite those. Some people do. You don't have to. It's got old sealer on the threads, which, you know, for these are plenty. So then when you go to get your 10 millimeter, I don't know if we said that is what that is. Then, you know, go pick 3 bolts and just, you know, tighten them up little by little, not too much. Just work that cover plate back down on it. And can't remember the torque spec off the top of my head. Google it if you're worried about it. We've just done this a lot, and that little Milwaukee tool just gets it perfect. Done with the primary, it's ready to go. So let's see what's up with the secondary. All right, so primary's taken care of. On to the secondary. We're gonna swap that junker out there. So you can, this spring in here, you know, that, well, not that side, this spring's okay. This is under pressure, is what we're saying. Don't want to just use your hand to hold that one. You can use all thread and big washers to hold that together while you take those loose and back it out. Or take those loose and then use the washers on the all thread to slowly release that. Or, you know, we can get you this
giant wing ding
Giant,
that I threw.
giant wing ding tool right here. So you need something to cover that up. And what works great for us is, how about that? Recycle parts. Don't throw anything away. That's an old input, or that's an old low gear. Couple washers there. But check this out. This is so much easier than the all thread. If you mess with a lot of clutches, and mess with your buddy's clutches, yeah. That doesn't have to be tight. It just, I don't know, not even snug.
It's so much less effort than the all thread.
I guess I probably need an extension for this. Saying just take these all the way out. These are a 16. And you just loosen it up. You got the sheave, you got the little spring holder thingy, out with that spring. There's our spring, little bit stiffer. So this helix, our helix, you can really tell by looking. It's different. It's better because it says Crush City on it. Oh, set that there. Spring in, spring hat. That's what you want to call it. Secondaries don't matter. They're not balanced or anything, so squiggle that on there. Get your bolts halfway close to lining up.
And now you're compressing the spaceship. It looks like it's gonna go land to like refuel. And he's just trying to line up the holes.
Once you feel it start getting in there, you want to look. I'm feeling, but you want to make sure that helix is set in there in that recessed area. So we're good to go. That's it. You don't have to get that tight. These bolts don't have any Loctite on them, but we Loctite these back anyway. You may have to wiggle a little bit. You just want to be sure to get them started threaded in by hand a little bit, so you don't go stripping out your brand new helix.
Yes, cross thread's better than no thread is not the answer in this situation.
And not recommended on aluminum.
Yeah.
So they're all started. You can torque these down by hand. Again, I can't remember, 20, 26, I don't know, don't quote me. We're relying on whole experience here. We're just gonna snug those up. Guess we can tighten it down a little bit to bring the thunder. A couple ugga-duggas, and that's done.
So pretty easy to install, I think.
Super easy. So,
Your brand new spaceship.
your brand new spaceship ready for awesomeness. So the only wear items you have in the secondary really to look at, other than this stuff, is just your 3 rollers in there. And you know, that's OEM clutching belt dust. We'll go blow this out real quick just to get rid of all of it. So, like I said, secondary is not balanced. So just go ahead, put those back together. They twist when they go in. It may take some wiggling just to find, yep, right there. Be sure you get those spacers back in there. Put that on. And let's say we don't have to mess with the shimming or adjustment because we didn't take this loose. It should go back together just fine. Again, recommended if you don't do this a lot, you know, get your torque wrench out and torque it. I think these are 46. We've had a few of these off, so we're good. So now, I know we took off the belt without the belt tool, but putting it on, you don't want to try to do it without your belt tool. Maybe that'll be a tip for another video another day. How to do that if you're out on the trail and you don't have a belt tool.
That could be a good tip. It's so small, it's easy to lose.
And it's so chintzy that, well, we had one that we use all the time on the gear reductions. Bend or something, it didn't work. Didn't work no more. So back with our belt. Just work it around the primary, shove it in the bottom. Turn. Give a little extra if you need to. So you notice the way the belt's sitting in there now. you wouldn't want to start it up like that. It's not gonna do nothing too bad, but just spin your secondary till the belt comes back up to the top of it, and that's it. Simple as that. Just put your cover back on. You can leave it off if you want to test your RPM. The way to test RPM is, 10 to 15 mile an hour slow rolling, high, two-wheel drive, and you hit that 10, 15, wherever you want to go, and just go wide open throttle. Pedal to the floor, hold it there till 55-ish, and watch your RPM. Instantly, your RPM should jump up, typically 8,300 to 8,600, depending on if you have a tune, your tire size, your reduction percentage. As long as it falls in that range, you're pretty good. You're ready to go ride.
When it hits 55, it should be holding, right?
Yeah. It should jump up, say 8,300, and all the way to 55. It should basically stay 8,300. It can fluctuate within 100 RPM. You're not really going to be able to adjust that much, and there might be that much error in the digital tach anyway. But you just want it to jump up and hold steady, and pull hard the whole way. So, which it will definitely do with this kit. If you wanted to just go ahead and throw some low-end performance, I think we talked about it in the flyweight setup, is maybe a thick washer on the first hole, the heel, maybe 1 or 2 washers on the second hole, leave the top alone. It might make your RPM vary a little bit, but that's you're weighting it down for more low end. You're taking away from high end to get to the low end, and that's perfectly fine. With this kit, you're gonna love it. We haven't had any complaints. If there is something you don't like about it, get a hold of us. Maybe your machine's higher horsepower than what we're typically set this up for. Reach out to us and we'll work with you and get you taken care of. But that's it, I think. You think of anything?
I don't think so.
So yeah, you just leave the cover off, take it for a test rip, see where your RPMs are at. If you're happy with it, cover back on. 99% of people, this has been a one and done deal. You're not chasing your tail with 432, 123, 444, 438. Like the other clutch kits, this is set up ready to go. So enjoy and let us know what you think about it. Thank you very, very much.